Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 789. I'm back from Florida, from the most magical place on the world, on Earth, wherever they say, whatever the slogan is.
You don't know the slogan? You've been there for a week and you don't have the slogan memorized?
No, I was grinding, Ben. It's a grind. It's hard work.
What,
Disney's
like
hard work.
walking from ride to ride?
Walking, standing and walking and waiting and waiting. Man,
do the kids never get exhausted of like, oh, Dad, I'm tired. Let's just go chill and hang out at the Airbnb or hotel room?
That was the toughest part. No, that never happened at any point in time. Caleb would have road rides from 7 a.m. till midnight, 7 days a week if we had allowed him to. Just an unlimited reserve of energy, and he was obsessed completely and totally. They are the peak Disney demographic. And totally insatiable, and would ride anything.
They keep those things running until midnight?
No.
Okay.
I think Caleb's almost old enough where you could just ship him out. Like, hey, man, go get it. Like, what's he, 11, 12?
He turned 11 yesterday, in fact.
11. Boom.
Yeah. He's ready. Yeah, start
ready.
He could get a job at.
So, when you guys were kids, how early did you go home by yourself? Because when I was in first and second grade, I remember I would go home by myself. It was like a mile and a half, ride my bike. And then I'd have to call my parents and be like, hey, I'm home.
I don't know how much I was home alone. Definitely by third and fourth grade, I was home alone some. But I was like allowed to like ride around the village of Churchville and like just kind of be on my own and do that stuff at probably second or third grade. Once I learned how to ride a bike, I was kind of like free to go around the town. So I had a lot of freedom.
Yeah, we used to live a little bit east of Colorado Springs, so we had
rough neighborhood.
Wide open, wide open spaces.
East, that means it's the middle of nowhere.
It used to be the middle of nowhere. Now there's like houses everywhere, but they were building all those houses back then. So we would jump on our bikes. We would go to my brother and I would like ride to the construction sites, and we would.
Delinquents.
We would jack all the Pepsi points off of like the construction workers like discarded Pepsi bottles. So we got all the I got like a Pepsi chain wallet and like a Mountain Dew hat, like all this stuff.
I knew David Bray had a dark past.
Oh yeah, dude.
Somewhere back there, he was stealing the Pepsi points.
They were after discarded. You know, they throw the 24-pack, the box away. I mean, what they're not going to use those Pepsi points.
No,
I'm going to go in there and tear them off. Put them in my pocket.
This is a great intro to the first topic that I want to talk about. I'm jacking the show right now, Christian.
All right, take it away.
Which is the NLI stuff that just came out yesterday. Because I think David Bray might be able to save some Pepsi points and get some recruits to his favorite institution.
Yes,
but this has now been outlawed.
Dang it. And outlawed by you. You're a booster, are you not?
Well, I haven't. I said I was willing to do it, but no one ever brought me the right person, so I never actually did it. But I actually, I don't know. I would kind of argue with this that I probably couldn't go recruit them, but I actually have a real business that deals with the wrestling industry. Mm-hmm. So I think I can make a very legitimate argument that like, no, this does benefit me and my business in some way, shape, or form. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll happen.
So why don't we get into the particulars of the rule? Is the long and short of it, Ben, the boosters are no longer going to be able to be involved with NIL deals with athletes. Is that essentially what it is?
Yeah, and they're defining booster, and they're pretty much. I mean, guys, we all knew it was crap, and they're pretty much saying all the shenanigans that everyone's trying to pull. They're all out. It kind of just makes a list of, I don't want to say all the possibilities, but a lot of the possibilities. So it's good. I like it because we all knew it was nonsense.
Yeah. So it's interesting, man, because you've been very pro for years, super pro athlete, pro get paid. Why do you think this restriction is important?
Well, I just because I think the athletes should. I mean, I think the athletes should get paid what they're worth for things that they can actually do, not just because some random rich dudes want their team to be good. I don't think anyone thought that was positive. Like these collectives, they've banned those that we all knew they were ridiculous. And so I'm pro athlete earning the money that they can earn from a business. But as far as like recruiting by rich boosters, I just thought it was kind of stupid. And so now I guess the debate you would have to have now is like my business is like, I own a wrestling business. Could a wrestler promote my business and would it help me? Probably, right? And I think other people could make this argument. It doesn't seem though, and it was maybe kind of all gray area prior, but it doesn't seem though I could say, hey, if you go to Mizzou, I'm going to give you this deal type of thing. Whereas that was a lot more gray prior.
Yes.
So, I mean, the fallout, though, from this regulation is that, according to this article from Front Office Sports, there are going to be lawsuits against the NCAA. So, this article says the NCAA's goal is to test the waters, according to a Boise State law professor, but this isn't testing the waters. This is finding a shark-infested patch of open water and jumping right in. And they talked to a couple of different lawyers who are like, lawyers who are connected to these NIL collectives, and they're like, yep, as soon as this goes into place, we're going to sue the NCAA, and so they're saying they're going to sue
like
him because
our man Frank Ruiz. What was that guy's name? The Miami guy.
Yeah, that Miami guy. This guy, we were talking about this last week. There's this guy in Miami. He has over 100 athletes at Miami on his payroll, and he's like bragging about it. Like he's the one that's like breaking news of this basketball player from Kansas State transferring to Miami because like he gave him a $400,000 deal.
That's what's up. Like, shout out to Frank.
But so yeah, I mean the NCAA is going to get sued, and apparently the lawsuits are going to be over like their definitions of the NCAA's definitions being too loose for things like boosters and things like that. So kind of the takeaway.
To me, it does also bring up the point, guys, of like what could and should the NCAA have access to, and then also like the notion that this has probably been happening in some way, shape, or form for a really long time. Probably not in wrestling because there's not enough money in it, but definitely in basketball and football. Like, can the NCAA have access to my bank account? I don't know. I probably wouldn't give them the password. Can they have access to my cell phone messages? I don't know. I wouldn't let them log into that. Like what do they get access to, and how can they prove things?
Yeah, I wonder if there would be something where you have to report maybe not the details of the agreement, but just like, hey, there is an agreement in place with this entity, and what the money is maybe not as important as what the deal is with, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess we will keep you guys up to date on this, but it seems interesting, and stuff like institutional coaches and staff may not communicate directly or indirectly with prospective student athlete on behalf of a booster NLI, so there can't be any connections made. An NLI agreement between a prospective student athlete and a booster NLI entity may not be guaranteed or promised contingent on initial or continuing enrollment at a particular institution. An NIL agreement between a student athlete and a booster may not be guaranteed or promised contingent on initial or continuing enrollment. So just like, they're kind of outlining these things. It'll be interesting to see if they are actually able to enforce them. Yes.
So there's a couple of things I want to get to that you guys maybe touched on last week, but I didn't get to talk about it a little bit, if I may. One, I thought the biggest story out of you look like Predator right now, Ben, with that face. People freak out when you start making faces on the show. I guess they haven't gotten into like that. Ben's a face maker. He likes to make faces. Face maker Ben.
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you.
No, it's okay. But Kendrick Maple to me was I think the biggest story out of the trials, and I think him winning. I think Ben, you and I both picked him, and I think it wasn't an obligatory pick like feel good thing. I really thought he probably would because of what I think we saw happen. Is this is a guy who obviously had really great skills. He training with a bunch of savages, year round basically. And, that freedom in his wrestling, I think was like very apparent. Like this is a guy with nothing to lose playing with house money against a field that he on a talent and skill level, we knew he could compete with at his best day. So he wins the open and you're like, well, you can't stop. And fortunately he says, hey, I'm going to go to trials. And the interesting thing about it is, because Yanni did not wrestle at the Open and didn't give himself the opportunity for the 1 seed, the way the trials is set up, So for 6 of the weights, they're going to wrestle the semis of the challenge tournament, and then the semi winners, and then that'll stop right after they wrestle the semis, and then that's Final X. So what that does is that makes Yanni versus Joey McKenna a very likely semifinal. And what do we know
about that? I think we all agreed that we weren't sure how it was going to go.
Well, we know that Kendrick is going to go in terms of seeding. We know that Kendrick's the one, and I don't see how. Yeah. Okay, and also Ben of note, I don't think Nick Lee's wrestling at Trials. I don't think Roman's wrestling at Trials.
Well, that's the person we were debating.
Yes, so I don't think Nick is going.
How do you know he's not wrestling?
I mean, I was told. I don't think that.
Got some rumors. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Rumor for sure.
Yeah.
So I don't think we'll see him at Trials. I hope we do. It would be awesome to see him because he could very well be the best guy in America at 65 right now. Oh. Could.
He said he's going. Kendrick said he's going.
No, I'm talking about Nick Lee.
You're talking about Nick Lee. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's going to be.
Yeah, I know Kendrick's going. So my point here is Yanni Joey is now a one-match semifinal for Final X, whereas I think if we were to say no Nick Lee, we would say Yanni Joey is probably the 1 and 2 in America based on years of data. Mm-hmm. And so what does that mean? Well, look at their best of 3 last year, right? You don't get to drop a match now. If you drop a match, it's over. Yeah. And Yanni lost a match to Joey McKenna, and now that's just the margin for error is razor thin. And then you combine that with the fact that Joey McKenna looks really, really good and has continually, I think, improved. He's impressed me a ton. He's a tough matchup for Yanni. Yanni has owned that series, albeit it's been quite competitive. So now Maple looks like he'll have the opportunity to sort of moonwalk to Final X, comparatively speaking, to having to go through
Who
Joey.
would be the number 4 now since all those guys are on the street?
He says Kolodzik does.
He killed Kolodzik.
Yeah. Kolodzik, I mean, Henderson, Lugo, Parker.
That's what it looks like.
Who else could come out of the woodwork there at 65? So, it's looking very realistic that Maple could be not only in Final X, but he could reasonably be the guy for the United States, which is crazy, because he was retired, not because he's not good enough to do it. And so what I was thinking about is like, man, is Yanni going to look back and be like, should have done the Open?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll see how it turns out, and then he'll probably make that adjustment afterwards. I don't know. I don't know that it's a huge difference. I guess if he loses to Joey, then we'll say yeah. And if he beats Joey, we'll say not a big deal, right?
Yeah, and I guess if you're Yanni, you basically know you've got one guy you got to prepare for, right? And Joey similarly. The other thing for me that like is casted, and if you listen to the show for a long time, I pick Yanni to win basically all tournaments he enters, and I'm sure I'll probably do the same for Trials as well. But the one thing that's like in the back of my mind as I look to like make a prediction here is just the momentum of the Pennsylvania RTC, and just how and that's something, and that's interesting because in wrestling in USA there's like. That's not something that is really discussed much about, like the team dynamic, the team periodization, peaking, whatever, for an RTC. We talk about with Nittany Lion, but really nowhere else, right? And
I think, but we've talked about this, Christian. How many of these RTCs are real RTCs where they actually have like a team, and that team trains with themselves? They're not like college workout extras or extra college coaches, and I don't know. I think the answer is probably likely less than 5. The really obvious 3, the ones you can't debate, would be Penn State, and Michigan. Cornell's got a lot of guys, but I don't really know how that runs. But like Penn, they have their team. Their team runs separately. They may help out a little bit or have combined practices, but they're definitely their own thing.
Yes, 100%. And you just look at the development there. It's like Joey McKenna is obviously he's been good for a while, but David McFadden just won a tournament with Isaiah Martinez, Alex Daringer, and Vincenzo Joseph. That is just that is just a sentence you just never thought you would say. And as good as McFadden has been, and he was a decent he was a good freestyler, right? He's a guy that he beat Isaiah White in freestyle. He's a Fargo champ, I believe. And but that he would win a bracket like that, and his style I never thought was like perfectly catered for freestyle, right?
Yeah, agreed.
But man, it's undeniable what he just did. And now, listen, it's Jordan's weight, obviously, and Ringer and Imar and Storace are going to have their say again in Coralville. But I think there is something to be said for the team effect and just what Slay and the Pennsylvania RTC are doing. And Joey McKenna, I think, is going to be, really, he's going to be really well prepared, and they're going to have a really solid game plan. The thing is, Yanni can overcome a lot, and I think he can overcome that.
I think the thing that's so unique about McFadden is like you see a lot of times the depth guys at an RTC or the depth guys in a weight class, and they're just always depth guys. They're always third through sixth. Yes. They just never can get to that next level. And McFadden, that's where he's been for much of his career, NCAA and everything. He's just a really, really tough depth guy.
Yeah.
He even said, like, when he was on the Bader show last week, he's like, man, I had to ask Mark Hall, what do you do on a day where you're sitting in the finals, like where you made the finals? Like, how do you spend the day? I don't know. I'm out of college for a couple of years, but I still have no idea, like, what do you do on that day? So Mark Hall had to, like, kind of, hey, here's what you do. Go get a workout, relax. Like, he said they watched, like, I don't know, White Chicks or something. I can't remember. But he's like, yes, we watch this. And then
we always watch White Chicks.
I can't remember what show it was. But, like, so.
We'll say White Chicks.
We'll say it was White Chicks. He's like, yeah, I didn't. And I think it was Legally Blonde. But either way, same thing. He's like, I don't even
both
know.
Terrible movies.
Both terrible.
I love that you've seen them both, Ben.
Did it like. That's a guy that does not. I mean, 79 was not 65, where maybe guys were regretting not being there. Everyone was there at 79.
And that's the other thing. It was number one weight, of the trials without a doubt, and no one picked David McFadden to win it. I don't think there's a single human being outside of the McFadden household. So that was impressive, and kind of go from Kendrick Maple to Joey McKenna to David McFadden, but that just really stood out to me. Obviously, your guy Mitchell Messenbrink was a revelation. Ben, yeah. I'm sure he got discussed.
We talked about this last week, but give us your take.
Well, I'm just more curious. It's not really. I don't have a take. I mean, the results speak for themselves. I'm more interested in how something like this happens and what the process looks like going from Mitchell he was a guy who was not ranked a decent portion of his career.
A little lower.
Yeah, he was like
for his career, yeah. But like
now he's number now he's number one in the country. You've kind of alluded, maybe on the show, maybe not, that he was breaking through, and you talked a little bit about he was a guy who you had to convince about wrestling from space so much or whatever. But what did the process look like getting Mitchell to that level, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, and kind of our entire program, AWA, is based around developing kids later, right? Like Clayton Whiting wasn't ranked as a freshman; he's been number 1 or 2 now, and it's been, I don't think Keegan O'Toole was ranked as a freshman, right? I mean, we just don't get kids ready by that point in time because it's not part of our process. Mitchell just had to make a few different technical developments, and it was kind of like. Usually when kids try to add in too much new stuff, it's actually kind of like a dip before you go back up, So I know Peyton Mako was big like that. When he was doing all his gymnastics and kind of wrestling part-time, he was having a medium amount of success. And then when he actually committed to wrestling full-time, he actually kind of dipped a little bit, went down, because I was throwing all these things at him. And then all of a sudden he put them all together and, it went way up. And the same thing happened with Mitchell when he was trying to add all these new things to his arsenal. It was like he didn't have great results at Fargo. And, those two guys are both tough, right? He lost to Panero Johnson, who wrestled in the finals, and he lost to Kale Swenson. And then, obviously, Super 32, again, he lost to Ferrari and Seeley, who both are now top 5 guys also. So it wasn't like he was losing to bums. But, yeah, given what he did last weekend, and then at Journeyman also, right, because he beat up Nico Ruiz in a minute and a half. yeah, just been he's kind of put everything together. It all works in tandem, and yeah, he's crushing dudes. And so hopefully we can keep that up for trials weekend.
Heck yeah. So, other big news, Michael Beard quickly found a home in Lehigh. Don't know if this was discussed. I think it's, man, pretty freaking great landing spot for Beard. Closer to home, and at a great program, great school. The one complication is could create a little bit of a logjam for Lehigh down the road with Rogers going there. How do you see them navigating that?
Which Rogers?
Caden Rogers. So I mean I think Beard is he's better. He's gonna be the guy that wins the spot. So it just means Caden Rogers is probably gonna be waiting for a while. But the thing that makes it more complicated is that Caden Rogers also a Malvern Prep alum. So he's a senior now. So you know, I think it was probably frustrating for some of the people at Malvern Prep to see Max Dean come in and block the spot for Beard, and now it turns out Beard's kind of doing that to another guy from his same high school, and that's a tight program. Like those people are tight. So I don't know.
Could Caden Rogers move up potentially? Because you guys have him at 220. I don't really know him all that well.
Maybe he's 220, but a lot of that was for their lineup, and he didn't wrestle a lot this year, so he was a little bit of like the older senior, but he could wrestle in preps. So he didn't wrestle a ton of events. So for their lineup, it made a lot of sense for him to be 220. But I think they think of him as a 97 pounder. Maybe
so Beard's got 2 years or 1 year left.
3.
Yeah.
How?
Because
how does he got 3 years left, guys?
Because the year
Beard's so old.
The year he got 7th was a year that didn't count, and that was his first year. Because he had redshirted the year previously.
Oh my God! Did he gray shirt and redshirt?
Yes.
Oh, he gray shirted and redshirted, then wrestled, then had a free year. Oh my gosh, he's like in his 5th year of college and he's still got 3 years of eligibility.
Yeah. Although did this year?
This year counts for him.
This year was counted then as a second year, right? Or no? This was technically his first year.
Yeah. Gray shirt, red shirt. Year that counts. Corona year.
Yeah,
that's he did 4 years and has only used 1 year eligibility. This guy should write a book on that. He's a wizard.
Yeah.
Yes. So he's got a lot of time left. 3 years, good pickup there. Anthony Montalvo to Arizona State.
Yes, this is a big one.
Huge weight of need for Arizona State, who's been really good in the portal, and this is another good pickup for them. And I was surprised to see Montalvo leave Oklahoma State. Candidly, I think I mentioned that when he went in the portal at first, but good fit, good landing spot for him.
He has 3 years of eligibility left, right?
That sounds like a lot, but it could also
because
be
it
true.
says it says on wrestling it says red shirt. It says he wrestled. Then the Corona year happened, which he did not really wrestle.
He was on the bench.
He was 2-1, but it was a free year. And then last year says it has a medical ambulance, which appears to denote medical red shirt.
Yeah, so you could have at least 2, maybe 3 for Montalvo.
Yeah. That's a big pickup because Arizona State's lineup, the rest of their lineup's really good, and they had these 2 really kind of soft spots. And I think they're hoping Kyle Valencia fills one of them. Montalvo could fill another, and then there's obviously been the rumors around Kennedy Monday that he could fill the last kind of like
is that right?
spot. That's what I heard.
Kennedy Monday at Arizona State. Wow.
Well, he was retired.
Yeah.
Yes, I've heard there's interest there.
Okay.
That'd be a big pickup, man.
Yeah.
And
then I put I added in the doc Dejan Castro to Pitt, which I thought was a pretty good get by them because he's tough. He's rounded 12.
He's very tough.
Out of the Citadel.
Feel for the Citadel for sure. Casto, he was a guy at CKLV that caught my eye. You could tell he was tough and probably a dude that I hadn't heard of that had a shot at making it to NCAAs. And then he does, and then he beats O'Connor early on, makes the round of 12. So good pickup for Pitt as they continue to try to build over there. So yeah, a lot of transfer news. I'm wondering who are the additional outstanding names in the portal that have not found homes yet. I think Taylor Lamont is one of the bigger names. Trying to think of any others, but of course May 1st was the deadline to get in the portal. So now we shouldn't see more names going in there.
How long do they have to wait to get back in the portal? Like, when does it open again?
I want to say it's the fall, maybe.
Okay. I feel like you can kind of transfer whenever you want now in college athletics, but
It's sort of a
I haven't
weird,
actually looked
weird
into it for
thing.
myself, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand what why there's a restriction on it when you can go in the portal, but there is one. Per our interview with Dayton Fix at Pan Am's, I guess we should say JD got jammed up. He's absconded. For all we know,
he and Ishmael Barrero are probably hanging out.
the Barrero thing is so funny. It's, I guess, funny. I don't know if it's funny, but when he registered, I was like, why is he going to Pan Am's? It's like, this doesn't make sense because they sent no ones, and then they're going to send their Olympic champion. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. There's Olympic champion wrestling. I was like, no, he's not. He is there to leave this nation. So I'm curious, do you know or do you remember what is the new rule for how long you have to be out before you can wrestle for another nation?
Right?
Is it 1 or 2?
I don't know for sure. It may be 1. I don't know, though. But you're wondering, Ishmael Barrero, get him in the Greco lineup?
Oh, man. Well,
I don't see why not. Put him in there.
We got Alan Vera.
Yes. And that took some time.
Was it 2? I don't think it was longer than 2 years, though.
Oh, man.
Maybe
I put
not.
UWW transfer rules, and it's giving me University of Wisconsin Whitewater rules.
I know. It's so annoying. Every time I Google UWW, I get that dang school in Whitewater.
Freaking Whitewater! Get your head out of your butt and get a new nickname.
Yeah.
A new abbreviation.
Go WWU, Wisconsin Whitewater University.
There we
Boom.
go.
Change it. Then our Google searches aren't messed up.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, that's huge news. But yeah, JD is something happened with the date on his COVID test that he's not able to. So he had to stay another day. Now listen, for all we know, JD made that up so he could stay another day in Mexico. We don't know.
I saw his Instagram story. It looks like he's having a pretty good time.
He's having the time of his life in Acapulco, as he calls it.
Acapulco? Maybe JD's recruiting him to wrestle at Nebraska Kearney.
He could do that.
Might have just taken a little bit longer.
He might just tell Ishmael, this is the nicest place in America. Come to Kearney.
Oh my gosh, you guys got to see this paperwork for the request for international transfers.
Are you going to fill it
Pursuant
out?
to United World Wrestling's regulation for international transfers in interclub competitions, the National Federation of blank requests the authorization for the transfer of. Then you got to fill out their stuff. We should just fill this out for them, guys. Make it easy.
Yeah, why not?
We're putting this in. Hey, you put
I'm gonna
it
put
out
this
there.
in the doc. Hold on. I'll put this in. Hold on.
it.
I'm gonna put it in right now. Okay, bring this up, and you guys.
Okay.
We're gonna fill this out for Ishmael Barrero live
Yep.
on the show to take care of this.
Yeah. This is valid for 1 year.
Yes.
Okay,
International. The authorized wrestlers will compete in international competitions. Dude, we could totally fill this out. Let's just do this for him. Look at this.
Yeah.
Easy paperwork.
This is too easy. We just got to get his passport number. This is
I
no
think we need
problem.
to forge a Rich Bender signature on there somewhere, probably.
That's
I
fine.
bet we could ask Rich.
Rich, what'd you think about a 2-time Olympic champ on the old Greco squad? He's a certified freak.
What a simple paperwork, though, right? We should just do this.
This is no problem. All right, so we're gonna plug him in. No problem. That'll be helpful.
That'd be good.
We could get him legitimately. Just get him in the roster for the Olympics. Just get him in for Paris. That's the priority.
Yeah,
That's all you
we
didn't
can
need
do
to
that.
wrestle the worlds. Just Olympics.
Yeah,
We're
just
gonna need to
Olympics.
qualify the weight too, probably.
Yeah,
So
good point.
maybe by next year.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice if he would qualify the way for us. Honestly, I would just like to see him continue wrestling, whether it's for America or otherwise.
Hey, we missed a few transfer portal guys that are going to be difference makers potentially.
Hit it.
Matt Finesilver's in there.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Tate
Maybe him
Samuelson's
there,
in there.
Tate.
right. We knew about Tate.
And Yaroslav Slavakuski, he could be a real difference maker.
Oh yes, Slavakuski.
We like him a lot. And now Barrero.
Now Ishmael Barrero.
Get him in Iowa State.
I mean, that's
5 years of eligibility.
yeah. He could, yeah, that'd be, man, imagine that.
I don't know if that would go as well as the younger Bastida, but
I would watch it.
I would definitely watch it. Okay.
It looks like he has to live here for 12 months before he can be granted the authorization, which is weird because, then how long is it going to take him to grant it? It says a wrestler who lives in a country and who has resident status for more than 12 months may be granted authorization of international transfer with the framework of the present transfer rules without requesting the permit. Oh, so if he does it and gets citizenship, then 12 months, he does not even have to request permission.
Okay. Interesting. All right, well, we'll monitor the Ismael Barrero Molina situation. Dayton Fix gave a little bit of insight on his weight plans for the future. He's going to... What's up, Giggles?
I got more. You ready for this GWW stuff?
Yeah.
The following transfer fee schedule for an Olympic or senior world medalist, 2,500 francs. Listen, I don't know about you guys. With this NLI stuff, I'm reading this. That sounds like a deal to me.
$2,500 for Ismael Barrero? That's
Hell
a steal,
yeah,
brother.
What's the exchange rate on a Swiss franc?
I think it's worth more.
It's definitely worth more than $1, especially now.
It's 0.99, so it's almost exactly.
Oh,
$2,500 for an Olympic champ? Hell yeah,
it's too
let's
easy.
do it.
That's like only 3 Bitcoins.
Don't bring it up. I'm poor again.
Oh, poor Ben. Okay.
Tyler's got the conversion right there. Swiss francs to Bitcoin.
Yeah, Tyler. I don't know. He is the fastest Googler this side of Texas. So, other topics. Dayton Fix gonna stay 61. Gonna stay at 133 for his. Sounds like for the duration of his collegiate career.
Did you guys tell him about our plan though?
JD didn't think it was the time to tell him that he should go 141 for the team. He figured John Smith would be thinking about that kind of thing.
He said, hey, a lot of people are talking about maybe you go 141 and then go 65 kilos. It's like literally just our show is talking about it.
A lot of people are talking about it. Well, theoretically, we talked about it, and a lot of people listened to the show.
So maybe they're talking about it.
And that,
Dayton's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I'm going to go 133 and then 57 kilos.
Yeah. And that's honestly what I would have. I never entertained the thought. What did I say? They don't think he's big at all. They think he's a 33, he's a 57. They think that's where he's best. And honestly, for the Olympics at 65, those are some big old beasts there.
Yes. He said he doesn't want to win an NCAA title against anyone but RBY. He wants that RBY match. He's glad he's coming back. Wants to beat him. Wants to go 33.
Good for him. Yeah, I don't. He certainly can do it. It's just, man, that Saturday night thing. He needs to like rig it so he gets him in like a quarter or something. Semifinal.
So he's gonna lose a whole bunch of matches next year.
Yeah. He just needs to just mail in a couple matches, tank his seed, and then try to rig it so he gets him earlier. Not really. Okay, so that's interesting.
Good idea.
Good. Yeah, it's not my worst idea. Speaking of weight, Charles Oliveira missed weight at UFC.
Oh, we are going to talk about this
by half a pound. Well, it was interesting. Someone told me we should talk about it on the show, so I said, why not? I thought it was an interesting little story. Now I don't know if it's less or more interesting now that he beat Gaethje soundly and submitted him, but the idea of missing weight and then having an hour after you miss weight and him not losing weight, to me, just says he just had a really bad weight cut and wasn't able to make it, and there was just excuses.
But I do get to know. I hate the freaking slide scales. I think they're stupid. I think they're semi-easy to. I won't say rigged. Might not be the correct word, but why don't we just do a freaking digital? They're so much better. Like, come on, dude.
Well, the move is, the slide scale's cool because for the I don't know, nostalgia of it, I guess. But do a fake weigh in on the slide scale, and then but like have them do a real one on a digital scale.
Well, so you do weigh in when you go in the back room, like so they put you in like a staging room and then walk you up the official scale. You weigh in on the digital scale. So, and there was a few other people saying he actually made it. I didn't see a video or a picture, so I don't want to say he did, but yeah, obviously if you were to make it there and then miss it on the slide scale, hopefully they would rectify that.
Yeah. Do you think the UFC is like pumped that this dude missed weight? Like that's not good for them. Wasn't that the main event of the night? Do you think they're gonna? Yeah. They're gonna want their guys to make weight for the main event. I think. Yeah. So yeah, it is. The slide scale is a thing you can kind of, and you can kind of rig it both ways too.
Yes.
Or you can pull a guy off real quick, like they did that with Khabib. The one time, like it was like going up and they just like slid it over. Anyway, thought that was interesting. I didn't watch the fights. I just got back from Disney.
Yeah, that's why I don't know why those freaking commissioners were not letting him make weight. Like, make this man make weight. You know what your job is.
Yeah. Okay, so where to next? Pan Am's is done. We won all the things, but it's Pan Am's is like less and less a proving ground for us now that Cuba is, especially in the men's freestyle side, is way down comparatively speaking. Yeah. They got so much mileage out of the same like real 5 or 6 guys, and now I'm really curious what the next generation of Cuban wrestling looks like. Is it going to be a formidable thing? Because right now it doesn't look like they're going to be bringing a ton of competition for our guys. We won a bunch of the weights. I think Joey probably had the toughest bracket with Destrabats and Sebastian Rivera. I think he had the move of the tournament against Destrabats. Did you see this?
I did not see this. I was going to bring up your guy Joey Silva.
He's right there.
Senior national team member.
He's made the finals against Dayton Fix, just like many others have. So
did they have him at Super 32 or something?
I feel like they have wrestled.
I feel like they've wrestled also. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let me find. Let me find this Destrabats
Show me this move. I want to see it.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. McKenna.
It's crazy. I mean, he picked him up like 2 kids stacked on top of each other. Oh,
I know. I did see this. Yeah. No, I saw it. He was between his legs.
Mm-hmm. It's him coming up here.
It was wild.
I'm about to get it to Tyler T-Bone here. 650. All right.
But I don't know why Destrabats stayed loaded on him. Like we were just talking about this last week with some of the guys I was coaching about. Like when someone picks you up in a double, you don't freaking stay on their shoulder. You fall off. Like why are you trying to get spiked?
That's what I said. Tyler, I put it in the doc. Go to like 7 minutes in there if you want to pull it in. But yeah, Destrabats got a kind of a, I won't say a cheap 4, but kind of a cheap 4 on McKenna that made it sort of interesting. But McKenna really dominated it. Yeah, this is it. So you can pull it in. But I thought Joey looked good at a decent weight class here. So he gets in on the single behind the head if you're not able to watch, and then maybe Ben, you should talk through it technically.
Yeah, I mean he's trying to get attack to the leg and just keep circling, and they're kind of in that same position, and then. Like I said here, like I don't know why he didn't fall down forward. It would have been pretty easy, and he gets partied on.
Yeah, I mean it was like a piggyback ride or a chicken fight formation.
Chicken fight formation. That's exactly right.
Chicken fight. So this is an experienced chicken fighter.
You do it for chicken fights. You do it if you're 2 kids trying to look like an adult. You get a trench coat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know why he stayed loaded on his shoulders. He should have just like tipped himself either sideways or forward, and he would have came off the shoulders and not got bored.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
I mean, it was a 1-point match before that 4.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find Joey Silva versus Dayton Fix, but I can't find it. But you want to hear this Walsh Jesuit Ironman 2016 bracket that he beat?
Yeah.
He beat Chumbly in one of the early rounds, who's pretty good at Northwestern. He beat Chris Cannon, All-American, and then he beat Jordan Decatur, and then he lost to Spencer Lee. Pretty solid bracket right there.
That's pretty tough.
Mm-hmm. Man, the Americans from representing other countries were They were out in full force. We had all kinds of matches. We had a Thomas Gilman, Darian Cruz rematch.
Yep.
Rematch.
Obviously, Joey Silva was there. Seabass wrestled Joey McKenna. And then Franklin Gomez, Kyle Dake, we saw for the first time.
Yep.
But the big one was Gwizdowski Desi.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. So, Gwiz has traditionally handled Desi, and now he lost to him here. It was a late single leg exposure.
Desi looked he looked all right at the Ruda Super match. Nothing that I would have written home about and said, "Wow, this guy's he's a threat." But he looked good. Good gas tank. Made what's his name want to fall over. Who
Derek White.
Derek White, was that who it was?
Yeah. I can't believe that he got this reattack here. Gwiz just kind of stopped after the shot, which is not like him. But then, Gwiz was winning late and then gives up the late 2, which was about as close an exposure. It could have gone either way. But what makes me think it was probably 2 was the mat official. If you watch the match or if you're watching right now on your screen, you'll see the mat official is right there in really good position, and he calls it. So Gwiz ends up kind of draped, and Desi sits through.
Oh, that's 2, for sure.
Yeah, for sure 2, says Ben and the ref. But originally not called 2 on the mat is why I bring it up. And then they challenge, and Desi's corner wins. And this is with like 12 seconds left.
Does this make you doubt Gwiz's ability to win the not the U.S. Open, the spot for America for the world team? Because that
no,
there's
because
obviously
who's going to beat him?
No, not at all.
Who's going to beat him?
Man, are none of the younger guys? Is Kirkley not wrestling, or none of these other guys?
No, I don't think Kirkley's not wrestling.
Probably looking at like
Paris is not wrestling.
Paris looks,
and not great this year.
Yeah.
Probably the semifinal match is going to be Dom
like
Bradley,
Dom,
and then
Hayden,
and then Zilmer in the best 3 probably.
I don't see who's going to beat him. And it's crazy to think about that. A year ago we had Gable, Gwiz, Mason, Kirkfleet, and now we're going to come down a little bit in terms of our depth. We're losing the Olympic champion, and then some of our college talent not going to likely enter. So I think it'll be Gwiz. I'm not picking against Gwiz here.
Okay.
And I'll kind of give him. There were some, and I haven't heard the first thing about Gwiz dealing with this, but there were some health issues related to the just some stomach problems, I think, with some of the guys on the team.
What happened? A little food poisoning? A little party a little too hard?
Just it's Mexico. You get the wrong thing, it can be very distressing, and I have no idea if that's what he was dealing with, but I don't think Gwiz is that far removed from his prime that he's going to routinely lose to Desi. So I think he's still going to go.
Okay.
And I also, the other thing is, I don't know, not to make excuses for Gwiz, because who knows, but it is odd because it's like out of step with what we've seen in the past. But I heard Terry Steiner talking about on the women's side of things that there were a couple women that had down performances, and he's like, man, this is a little bit of a hard tournament to focus on, especially if you have the trials. If you're not sitting in Final X and you have the trials to go through. He's like, that was what a lot of them were talking about. That's their focus, was like, yep, get through this. They just kind of thought, all right, win this tournament, and then you got trials, and we're gonna really lock in for that. So I don't know, maybe some of that going on potentially.
So we have to send a team to these events. Mm-hmm. I wonder if Pan Am's continues to kind of go down and down, do we just start sending just kind of whoever and not sending ones? Or I know there's
Christian, it hasn't been that great of a tournament historically. I mean, one good team,
100%.
But who else is challenged?
100%. You're right.
Okay.
JD asked Kyle Dake in his interview, like, what when you know that the field is not really comparable at all to what it'll be at Worlds, what do you get out of it? Like, what's the point, kind of? And Dake's like, a lot of it is get down to weight, go through the routine, get reps at all of the important ancillary pieces of competing that are, apart from the actual opponents. And there's some actual value there, especially for a lot of these ones. I mean, they haven't had to compete in a long time, so it's the first time to even just do that, feel the weight, all that stuff, and then I don't know, even still feel the nerves of competition, all those kinds of things. So I do think it is. I don't know. It's got some benefits to these number ones.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't always send their best team though, because in 2005 I got to go. And I actually placed at the trials like 4th or 5th, somewhere there. But like my teammate Matt Pell went, and I don't even think he competed in the trials. They had Tom Klum go, and I don't think he competed. They had Ron Tarquinio from Pitt. I don't think he competed in the trials. So I have no idea how they picked this team, but we showed up and we wrestled. And obviously most of our guys either took first or third because the only good person was the Cuban. Right.
How'd you do?
Like, I beat my Cuban guy. It wasn't Yoel Romero. That was the arrow. He just didn't show up for whatever reason. I don't remember who the Cuban was that I beat. But then I had some bum from Puerto Rico or somewhere in the finals.
This was 84 at 84.
84 kilograms, yeah.
Heavy Chevy Ben.
Yeah, and then Matt Pell actually lost to Fandora at 74. Cole Conrad wrestled someone good, actually, I believe. So yeah, I mean, there was. But it was just kind of a random selection of athletes. I have no idea how they picked them.
Yeah. So that was Pan Am's. I mean, I feel like Zane missed the match because he was not feeling well, just dealing with illness. Kind of similar thing. But Kyle, Jaden, Jordan, the usual suspects dominated, right, as expected. Yes. Gomez Dake was interesting in that the opening hand fighting was like basically a fist fight early on.
Why is Franklin Gomez always
everyone? Okay,
everybody?
That's what I was gonna ask. As soon as that started, I was like, why does everyone hate Franklin Gomez? Like Jordan cannot stand Franklin Gomez. I got to get to the heart of this. I'm gonna ask at some point. I was be like, what is up with? Why does no one like this guy? It's like Franklin seems like the nicest dude.
Yeah.
Very soft spoken, just like not the guy you would expect to be the Team USA villain, but boy, do Jordan and Dake approach him a certain kind of way.
Yeah. I think for Dake brought up that he didn't say Jordan Burroughs' name, but he's like, when he was talking to JD about Gomez, he's like, he's good. There are people who have had really close matches with Franklin Gomez in the past. So he's like, I feel good about widening the gap because. So I wonder if that was part of it. Like if Dake just wanted to make a point, like make a statement. JB was right here with him a couple years ago, and I'm way out ahead. So I don't know.
Who knows if that's who he was even referring to?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have had close matches with him.
He could be referring to the Dan Dennis matches previously.
Those were close.
Because those were close.
Reese Humphrey,
Jordan Oliver.
Yeah, I think he was referring to those. It would not be like Dake to refer to something related to Jordan.
Yeah.
No, that was definitely it, and definitely what he meant. Okay. I had a question. Maybe I'll just tee it up and let Ben think about it a little more. This is a question from a friend that is me. So I watched this documentary with Caleb about Rick Ankiel, who I'm sure David knows about. This is a pitcher.
That was a pitcher, right?
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
Listen,
I believe I think he played for the Cardinals while I was at Missouri, right? Or no?
Yes, that is what happened.
Okay.
Okay. Wow. So this really has legs, man. Okay. So this guy, he's the superstar prospect coming out. He gets fast tracked through all the minors because he's so good, dominant left-handed pitcher. He's like gonna win the Rookie of the Year. He's starting in the playoffs. I think it was the NLCS or something like that. And all of a sudden, this guy cannot throw strikes anymore. He is just like he threw 5 wild pitches in a game, which is, I think they said it hadn't happened in 100 years. And all of a sudden, so he had they call in baseball and maybe in other sports, but like the yips. And basically some mental hurdle he could not get over. And it's actually an amazing story because after he attempts to come back several years and he just cannot get it right. He cannot pitch anymore. So then he becomes an outfielder, and he's like has a long, successful career as an outfielder. And he has like some of the most incredible. You should watch. Caleb and I afterwards watched him just like gunning dudes down from the outfield, just like lasers all the way in, and like throwing guys out at home and third. And it's pretty inspiring because he overcame and like really adapted and had a second act. But anyway, all that to say is, okay, yips are something that happened in sports. It happens in baseball. Chuck Knobloch was a famous second baseman. He suddenly could not throw to second base. And my question is, can you get yips in wrestling, Ben? And how do you think it would rear itself? Or if it's happened, how have we seen it rear itself?
That's a good question. Man, I feel like that's like such a specific movement, pitching a baseball or throwing to a base. Man, it does perplex me that people can't get over it, especially with the help of, coaches or sports psychologists. Because at this level, or at high school level, they're probably not getting help from a sports psychologist, or whatever, but at this guy's level, he's getting help from freaking everyone.
Yes, and he did.
To try to conquer this. And, I think in wrestling, it's a little different because, if there's obviously like days where maybe you're sick, or maybe the weight cut wasn't good, or maybe you ate something bad and you're just not feeling like yourself, but like you can still like grind through it, like maybe you don't look great, but you can still do a lot of the things. And some of the things in wrestling are really timing specific and motion specific, like getting into leg attacks. But like a lot of things aren't, like, squeezing a gut wrench or grinding someone on top, or that type of stuff is not, there is a timing basis to it, but it's not as narrow as a leg attack or something. So yeah. I don't think so. I don't know. I can't think of anyone I've known that's had an issue like this. Yeah, I don't know. Because
there's obviously the yips are like, it's a mental thing, right? And we obviously know that there are wrestlers that struggle with the mental side of competing, yes. Performance anxiety. We see the guys that, they're not in bad shape, but then they have this like, they gas out at the end of matches, sort of seemingly inexplicably, and you think it's probably nerve related more so than tank related, which I think is probably the main example of it, if it even exists in wrestling. But
so I feel like that's something different. Because,
I do too.
Yeah, because like the yips is a specific motor skill, throwing a ball to a base or a home plate. I feel as though it's like there's nothing really super similar in wrestling.
Yeah. I think when people think about something like the yips, they would probably look to people who have a consistent performance one way during like a regular season, and then it's not that way when you get to the postseason, and you see that from time to time. The yips are different because it's like every game is a really big stage. Yes. Every opponent is an extremely high level opponent. In wrestling, like just almost no matter what, you're gonna have some matches against inferior opponents, but there are guys that I think historically you've seen, like during the regular season they seem to wrestle a certain type of way, and then in the postseason it's just a little different. So I don't know. That's one area maybe.
It's interesting. Like one point he like when he first starts to come back, he like starts drinking vodka, and he has like one good start, and his sports psychologist is like, he's talking to his sports psychologist. He's like, hey, man, I did this. I had to do it. He's like, all right, do what you got to do. Just know that's not real, and that's not going to last. And literally the next time he did terrible. So.
It turns out it wasn't the vodka?
The vodka apparently is not a secret solution to solving problems.
Okay.
But anyway, I thought that was an interesting story. Check it. It's on YouTube, the whole documentary. If you type in like Rick Ankiel documentary, it's good story.
Type in the Rick Ankiel documentary. Report all the ads as whatever.
So Caleb, I don't know if I've said it, but Caleb watches YouTube, a lot of baseball videos, and he just reports every commercial as like inappropriate or repetitive, and then like it's like he thinks that's his way of getting around commercials. It's like kids these days. It's only he skips the 5-second commercials, mind you. Like he can't wait. He can't be troubled 5 seconds. Okay,
you can't. Waste of time.
Waste of time. All right. Next, Let's get to some questions from friends. First question, Pan Am's questions. Why didn't Helen wrestle? How serious is Kayla's injury? Is the Greco team finish a sign of progress? Helen not wrestling, I don't know. I just think probably just didn't want to wrestle at Pan Am's.
Yeah.
Kayla sounds like she said not a serious injury, totally precautionary. She'll be ready to go.
Yep. She said that in an interview. She's little tweak. They wanted to be careful and, so held her out.
I don't think that it's a sign of progress for Greco necessarily. We'll see. It's been a long time, so I don't know.
Yeah, it was the field was a little down. Sam Jones had one match. There's 2 people in the finals. That was it.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was fun. His match was fun. He completely ended somebody's life.
Yeah, he's wild.
But yeah, it's just yeah. Hopefully we will see signs of progress, but it's hard to make anything of this.
Yes. Do I think Dake should have been called for passivity in the finals? Not really. He was scoring points. He was on the attack. I thought it was sort of strange. Totally didn't impact anything, but I didn't think he should have gone on the clock there. But I think we saw some interesting calls throughout the weekend at Pan Am's. Okay, Matt Courtney. Could Ben possibly be responsible for America's first medal at 65? Meaning Keegan O'Toole wins NCAAs at an Askren product. That brings Kendrick Maple out of retirement. Maple wins Final X, brings home the medal. Did you do this, Ben? If that happens, did you do it?
Let's go. Let's do it. I love it.
Would you?
Credit.
I think, yeah, you should have I don't know if you have like a wall of champions at AWA or anything like that, but I think Kendrick Maple should get some consideration if he does this.
Yeah.
Put him up. Put him on the board.
Put him on the board. Okay. Wasn't it nice to have 2 awesome weekends full of wrestling and not have to talk about Insta-Death? Can we all finally admit that freestyle really is just that much more exciting than folk style?
Yeah, you don't see the Insta-Death situation too often.
No.
And you don't.
There's not many trapdoor matches either.
No, and like there are very few matches that are 1-1 passivities. Like it just tends to be more scoring.
Yeah, I love them both. I don't feel the need to argue or have them compete. These are like my offspring, Christian. That you have multiple children. Do you ever say like, well, Caleb's better than Natalie because of this, or Natalie's better than Caleb because of that? It's just not, you just love them both. Like, listen, I love folk style and I love freestyle. No one can't tell me that I have to pick a favorite. No one can tell me that I can't love them both. I love them both. I need to institute Insta-Death. I'm going to do the Ben Askren Wrestling Championships with Insta-Death.
Yeah. It's funny to bring up having favorite children because
breaking news.
Yeah, let me tell you about mine.
Breaking news. Christian Files is a favorite child.
I was probably the favorite son of my parents, but I have no favorites. Just kidding. Ryan was probably the favorite. But what I was saying like that I obviously don't have any favorite children. And this person, not a mother, has no children. It's like, oh, you have to have a favorite. Everyone has a favorite. I was like, what? I was like, no, that's psychotic, actually. It's like, no, I don't have a freaking favorite kid. It's like, all right, you need to have a kid, and then I think you'll understand. It's like, no, I couldn't possibly even think that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I feel about the wrestling styles, except Greco. F Greco. Listen, people get mad at me for this. I don't mind upper body attacks; they're cool and all. But senior level Greco, listen, those guys should pursue their goals. If they love it, if that's what you love, then that's what you love. But it doesn't mean I should have to be a huge fan of it. And people get mad about that, but I don't see the issue. It's like when I was wrestling, I want to be a great wrestler because I want to be a great wrestler. I didn't really care that there was minimal fanfare attached to it compared to some other sports. It just didn't matter to me, and that's how I think they should feel about it.
Won't argue with you there.
Okay.
All right, this guy's got a question for JD Rader, but I can answer it. At the U.S. Open, I gave him a club wrestling T-shirt. When asked what size he needed, his response was large. Christian Piles, please check his tag on his shirt and see if this is true. More like a youth large. Team of Hard Knocks. Listen, JD wears giant shirts. He'll wear an XL. He'll go 2XL. I don't know. He just likes giant shirts that come down past his elbows. That's his style. You should see some of the outfits this guy wears to work. He looks like 40% homeless at all times. But it's also like cool. So I don't know.
Homeless chic, you know?
Homeless chic, yes. Okay. I think we've done the show.
Chic.
I think we've done the show. Fun show. Fun to be back. We will be back tomorrow. No doubt about it. JD might be back.
He might.
He could be
Maybe.
absconded. It could be another absconded situation. But we hope he's back. And if not, we'll still have the show. Doesn't matter. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will be back tomorrow. Have a great Tuesday. Lots of good stuff coming up. Lots of World Team Trials content coming at you. Stay tuned for that. See ya. Have a good day, guys. Goodbye.